Welcome to episode number 77 of This Week in Location-Based Marketing. On today's episode, we take a global look from RVs, I did say RVs, all the way to Tata DoCoMo in India and everywhere in between. We ask, what is up with Apple's patent number 201201115512? Are we seeing the end of the coupon? And what does Converse see as the way to connect with customers? Plus, we have our usual plethora of deals, our resource of the week, and special guest, legendary entrepreneur and Canadian extraordinaire, Dan Martell. What a show! Coming up next. Welcome, everybody. It is Sunday, May 13th, 2012. That is Mother's Day. It is the closest thing to a divorce to do a podcast on Mother's Day, but we are doing it. My name, Rob Woodbridge from Untether.tv. You know why you go to Untether.tv. It's the place that you find all these great resources about the mobile industry, plus this very video podcast, these very episodes, 77 of them. With me, as always, to one of my sides, that one over there.
Yeah, Asif Khan from the Location-Based Marketing Association. Good to be back. Happy Mother's Day to both of our mothers. And neither of them are watching this live, I'm sure. Well, they're not because we're just recording it. But hey, maybe tomorrow morning they'll see it, Rob. You never know.
Well, if they do, then it'll they are lacking for entertainment. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yes.
Anyhow, we got a lot to cover.
We do. Well, you can find Asif at thelbma.com, of course, or at thelbma or at Asif Arkan on Twitter. And follow him up because he has a ton of stuff coming down. We are trying to go through this logistic challenge of time zone changes in Europe. And man, what is going on with the LBMA, Asif?
Well, it's busy as usual. We just got back from a few days in LA this week. Great meetings with some of the studios down there. Local radio station KJLH had a great event on location-based marketing for their listening audience and trying to educate some small businesses around this stuff. And we had Dave Tishner from Yowza on the panel, and Katie Burbank, who runs Yelp locally there in LA, and great little group, just good interaction, and got back and getting ready for a trip down to Orlando this week, and then Europe the week after, and there's a lot going on. So and then we got Untethered Talks coming up, and there's all kinds of stuff. LBMA in Montreal, about to launch our first chapter in Quebec, so that'll be good. Yeah.
I don't know how you do it, man. I don't know where you find the stamina to do what you do, because you're putting on events at the same time as speaking at events, and I'm just trying to put on one event, and it is a huge resource drain, right? There's a lot of effort that goes into this. People who do this and make it look effortless are my heroes. So Asif, yeah.
Well, no, there's some fantastic event planning people out there. Trust me, I don't know how they do it either, but.
Well, yeah, and we keep adding to our roster of folks that are speaking at Untethered Talks. For those of you who don't know, this is the place to go and find out what's going on in the future of mobile and the impact that mobile is having on our lives. And there's certain areas that we're focusing on. Obviously, the folks that we've got going there. The folks that are not on the site as of now, which is we're really excited about it. Is we got Schneider Mike coming on up to participate in this. And we've also got the CEO of Banjo, who is absolutely, I can't tell you how excited I am about that. Daniel's going to be up there participating in with us as well. And we got a whole bunch of new announcements as well coming up. So check out the site on tethertalks.com. Every day it seems like we're bringing on a speaker. We're up to over 20 speakers now at this monumental event in Toronto, June 26, 27. If we could just take the time to actually fill out the rest of the website, I think this would be a great thing. The agenda and the schedule will go up this week. So take a look on tethertalks.com. Pretty excited, man. Pretty excited.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's going to be a great event. I think everybody, if you're in Toronto or can get to Toronto, you got to be there.
And it is a universal U.S. non-Canadian focus. It's a North America, worldwide focus, and topics are going to be great. So please show up. Registration is now open. Ding. What do you say we jump into this week? What a week it was. As usual, we got a number of stories. We're not gonna gloss over any of them. And the piece that I have with Dan Martell, who is the founder of Clarity, is actually a much longer piece that will be available this week as well on Untethered.tv. We sat down for over an hour. I don't even know how to split it up. You're gonna have to just listen to this. It's pure gold. This guy is a Canadian legend entrepreneur. He works out of the Bay Area in San Francisco, and he is just an extraordinary guy. And you'll find that in this 1 hour. I monopolized his time. I took an hour out of his time. So here it will just be a clip for Dan. But we got a whole bunch of stuff to go to before then, so you got to stick around. I'm not even going to tell you when it is in the show. You got to stick around through the whole stuff. So what do you say we jump into our stories, Asif? Starting with this. How about some RVs? What is this about RVs, man? RVs?
Yeah, well, so I read this piece this week. All Stays Camp and RV is the actual name of the app, and it even says in the article that as I'm reading this thing that it's a great app, but a terrible name. They were called out right in the piece as I read it. Yeah, so really, if you're into camping, if you're into RVing, around Canada or the U.S., these guys have mapped out 22,000 spots, locations that you can park your RV and go camping. And it's not just mapping them out. It's everything to do with these things, like where you can find power, where you can find gear, stores that are nearby to these places. Those are all included on the map. It's all, everything you can do from a location perspective to pull all the data together that you need for everything that you would need when you're out camping and doing RVing. So kind of interesting, kind of cool.
It's been my dream. I don't know about you, but it's been my dream to load the family up and do what I do like this from an RV. I mean, it sounds stupid, but I'm sure there's a whole bunch of guys out there listening that are just like, yep, mine too, Rob, mine too.
Yep.
I don't know. I love the idea.
Well, as long as you could follow Springsteen along the way, right?
Well, you know what? There's remember the Grateful Dead? For those of you who are born in the 60s and 70s, you remember the Grateful Dead. This was a band that they just followed. It was legendary. They just toured forever, and they just these guys were called Deadheads. And Springsteen heads are exactly what I'm talking about. Follow them around in an RV.
I think you should lead that, Rob.
Just start that campaign.
Yeah.
Well, if I needed to, I would use Allstay's RV app because it tells you where to go. And they, I was looking on their site, and they have a whole ton of apps here. Like they have Allstay's Camp and RV, which we just talked about. They have the CRV Lite. They have Truck and Travel, Hotels by Chain, Overnight. They have 1, 2, 3. I mean, I think they have 16, 19 apps on the iPhone and 25 apps on Android. It's crazy. Allstays.
Yeah, and what I like about this too, from their perspective, is it's not just an app for the sake of an app. They actually charge for this app. You got to buy this app. Like it's they make money here. They actually have revenue.
And it's $6.
I know.
Like what is that? Like a highway robbery. Pun intended. Sorry. Go check it out. You know what? And if anybody's interested in that whole Springsteen thing, dial me up. Give me a call.
Yeah.
All right, second story. We'll jump into some second story. This is Tata DoCoMo out of India, partners with this company called Snapdeal.com. Talk about this. This is pretty. I like this. It's not new or anything like that, but I think that this is a trend that we've been seeing.
Yeah, well, we've talked a lot about carriers and the role that they have to play in bringing deals to subscribers. We've talked about Placecast in the past. We've talked about O2. We've talked about all that kind of stuff, and sort of the power of using a carrier network to geofence someone's location and push a deal over SMS as opposed to in an app. And that's what this is. This is an SMS-based deal delivery network in India on the Snapdeal platform. The interesting thing is as I was reading this, and the CEO of Snapdeal was quoted in this article, a guy named Kunal Bail. said that why this is so significant for the Indian market is when you look at it, there's 850 million mobile subscribers in India compared to 110 million people, who can access the internet. The ability to browse the internet on their mobile device. And so what that means is you have a lot of feature phones, and SMS works, pretty darn well in that environment. So, this is all about reach. This is all about, reaching as many people as possible. And it makes sense, right?
I think it does. It's funny the choice. These companies like Snapdeals, it just shows you the number of deal companies that are out there. It's just an insane amount. And when a company like Tata DoCoMo picks one of these companies, it always makes me wonder. Well, first of all, the reach of these companies, and why wouldn't they go with something like a Groupon? Why, is there a reason they wouldn't go with Groupon? You think?
Well, I can only suspect that. I think there's two reasons. One is I think Groupon probably doesn't have the same coverage that some of these guys have in the Indian market. Two is Groupon just takes too much of the pie for a lot of these guys, and turns them away from that perspective. Three is the other part of this that we haven't mentioned yet is that they actually charge so this program is called Deal Zone, that this combination of Snapdeals and Tata DoCoMo. This new service is called Deal Zone, and they actually charge the subscriber to use it. Okay, to get these deals, if you want deals, not just do you opt in, you actually pay. I think it's one rupee per day.
Wow.
Okay, to participate in this thing. So obviously the deals have to be significant, and yet there's still a revenue stream just from that alone that's being generated. So Groupon obviously isn't going to participate in that kind of.
Yeah, and I think that there's a maximum cap, like a 15% discount is what the most you can have as a result of this, and I think that's a challenge as well for Groupon. But
yeah, exactly.
Well, this is a big industry. It's a big world, and certainly India, one of the largest, most connected planets or countries on the planet, simply because they didn't adopt big screen, sedentary technology around the web. Very cool. All right, so what do you think the significance of 2012-011-5512? That number doesn't mean a lot, but I think that there's, this is a patent number that Apple has finally been awarded. I think that they actually filed for this in 2009 or something to that extent, where they filed in November 2010, and they were awarded in May of this year this patent, 2012-011-5512. What is it, Asif?
Well, it's described as a beacon-based geofencing solution. So I'll read the quick little abstract here for the viewers and listeners. A mobile device can monitor a current location using a multi-tier approach. A baseband subsystem can monitor a course location of the mobile device using various course location parameters such as mobile country code, a location area code, or a call identifier, cell ID, as the mobile device moves closer to the geographic region. Upon determining that mobile device is in a cell that intersects that geographic region, the baseband subsystem can transfer the monitoring to the application subsystem. So basically, it goes on and on. But basically what this is saying is that the device is being triggered based on passing a beacon, in this case, which is one of these, this broad subsystem, which is location area code, country code, or cell identifier. And then once it hits, crosses one of those beacons, it then triggers another layer within the thing, which is the application layer, to then respond and perform another series of operations. So this is it's as they describe it, it's a multi-tiered way to sort of use location or determine location by passing through a series of layers. So it's kind of interesting. It's very different than the way it's done today. All the systems that we have today are single layer, right? I mean, it's either we use cell tower, or we use Wi-Fi, or we use GPS. there's some sort of combinations of GPS and Wi-Fi out there to some extent, or some combinations of but they're still at that core layer of we're just determining the location of the device. We're not looking at area codes, country codes, and cell ID, and then going to the application layer, which is what this is talking about.
So the
complicated stuff, I know.
No,
Sorry.
but I mean, this is your background. So, I think the big question here is what exactly is Apple doing with this technology? Because this is a geofence, beacon-based geofencing. So what we're talking about, there's a lot of companies out there that are playing in this space. And what do you think that Apple is doing? So if I you take a look at what Apple's doing with the mapping software, they're moving away from Google. That's what the rumor is. They did it in their photos. Now they're talking about actually moving away from Google altogether, which I think from a competitive standpoint makes absolute sense. It's weird that they work so closely together, but Google Maps is the standard, and maybe they didn't have a complete offering until iOS or the iPhone 5 that is coming out at some point. But what do you think that this means, that they're getting into this geofencing space? Does this play with their iAds platform? Does this play with their mapping platform? Is this their push into targeted advertisements?
I think so. I mean, as I said, I think this is about triggering a much more finite location that can allow the applications, whether it's the iAds or the maps or whatever, music or content delivery or anything that you want to trigger on a location specific nature to happen at a super finite layer, right? So this is, in some respects, when we talked about Google and the Google glasses and all that stuff a little while ago, this becomes very easily doable with something like a beacon-based geofence, right?
Well, I even think about commerce. Right, and isn't Apple one of the only companies that hasn't, first of all, hasn't agreed to NFC, hasn't released anything with NFC, hasn't partnered on a wallet or an equivalent to that extent, because they have the iTunes in your credit card already. So what do you think that this means from a geofencing wallet, couponing, targeted advertisement, enticements? I think that this is all part of that big plan, and who knows where this goes? But it's, I think we might look back at this and think, wow. Two things. One of them is this something that they have to license? Like, if they own the patent to this, does this mean that the patent is owned by them to do this kind of stuff? And is it pervasive enough that other companies have to actually license it from them? I mean, what is this? Anybody out there who understands? What does this mean to the rest of the industry? Because it might just seem to me like it's all of a sudden Apple's in control here.
Yeah, I mean, and we don't know, right? I mean, we're simply responding to what we read this week and the announcement of this patent. But what we do know is there's a lot of patents that have been issued, right? And we've talked about several of them on this show. Which eBay now owns, has many patents around location. Point has quite a few patents. There's a number of guys around here that have patents. So who knows, right? Who knows who has to license what or what's going to happen? But this is an interesting approach. I've not seen anything like this yet. We've seen lots of couponing stuff, and we've seen lots of other things. But beacon-based geofencing, multi-tiered in this way, is an interesting approach.
It is, and what's interesting about it is that they didn't acquire a company to acquire the patent. They did this the old-fashioned way.
Did you look at the actual patent,
I
Rob?
did.
I mean, whose name is on it? Is it Jobs himself?
No, it isn't Jobs. It's actually a couple of folks that work for Apple. I'll pull it up here if I can. Yeah, let me just pull it up here. Zoom in a little bit. Morgan Granger from Sunnyvale, Robert Mayer from Half Moon and Bay, and Ronald K. Huang from San Jose. So I'm going to assume that these are Apple employees, but I have no idea. This was filed in November 2010 and issued May 10th, 2012. So this is obviously something that has been around for quite some time in the works, in the process. So I don't know, but it isn't Steve Jobs, no. But it is a signee to Apple Inc. of Cupertino, California. So we'll see what happens here. The beacon-based geofencing, multi-tiered beacon-based geofencing for Apple. This is a patent number 2012-011-5512. See how significant that becomes.
Nice.
All right. The next story. This is interesting. Edo. I don't think that this is something that's unique, but they've got their card-based location offers. So I've got a little video here that's going to walk us through what it means. It's about 2 minutes, and you'll understand what Edo does. And it's not new, but it follows a trend, another trend that we've been following. So here, I'll just hit play on this, and we can watch Edo and what this means. Card-based location offers. Here's Edo.
Finally, a way to connect online advertising with in-store results. And it's all done with this. Our Edo marketplace is transforming shopping. We give consumers a simple way to save, and we give marketers and merchants new ways to drive traffic in-store. It's a frictionless solution that is targeted, profitable, measurable, with clear insight into consumer spending behavior. Consumers love trying new things and saving money, but the world of saving is cluttered and impersonal. Here's how it works. Offers are automatically available on the credit, debit cards, and mobile phones consumers carry with them daily. No clipping coupons, checking in, or printing of the offer. This coffee shop wanted to target new consumers and drive trial around their new bakery item. Their offer was $1 off a $5 purchase. To redeem the offer, all Sarah needs to do is use her credit or debit card. $1 is instantly refunded to her bank account, faster than she received her latte. It's as easy for merchants as it is for consumers, no matter how big or small. You can easily target based upon spending behavior, with no need for additional systems, point-of-sale integration, staff training, or coupons and vouchers that slow down service. Our Edo Marketplace solution delivers weekly personalized offers tailored to shopping habits. Notifications are delivered via email, text message, or even mobile app. Savings are refunded instantly. Millions of consumers are enrolled in the program through bank and credit card partners. So give us a call, run a program, and see how easy it is to drive profitable sales. The card is the connection, and it's already in your customer's wallet. Edo, transforming shopping and saving.
So, nothing revolutionary there. I mean, what we're talking about here is a company that is essentially, we've seen this with American Express do this as well, where it's automatically credited, based on a purchase. So you walk into a store, you buy something, and you get a discount or whatever that the value of that discount is directly deposited into your account. So the example in that video or the ad was basically, you spend $5, you get $1 back, and the dollar is immediately refunded as soon as you use your debit or credit card on it. I like it.
Yeah. It's as we've said before when we talked about sort of the Amex Foursquare partnerships and Visa and Shopkick and all that kind of stuff. I think this is a great way for simplify the process, ease the redemption issues that we've seen around merchants that can't scan barcodes. It makes sense, right? It's a interim solution until we get to mobile wallet, whether that is which one of those is going to be going to win the battle, whether it's the ISIS or the Google Wallet or the whatever. But until we get there, until we have devices that are all NFC compliant and wallets that consumers are accepting, this is a good way to deal with it. Having physical card connected to credit card, swipe, discounts come off. We're tracking transactions. We know where you shop. We know where you've been. It's all location data. That's sort of being mined here. And ultimately, simplifying the process both for the consumer and the merchant. So I like it.
Here's where I wonder is that are we watching the birth of the e-wallet, the true e-wallet, right? Is it, what I like about this is that it doesn't change behavior. It's, I walk up, I can use my PayPass, I can use my debit card, I can use my credit card. It's the way that I done it. Merchants don't have to change their systems in order to be able to accommodate all this. I don't have to rethink a behavior. And I just wonder are we watching the birth of this e-wallet, this mythical e-wallet, because this kind of stuff is so simple. It's already part of what we do. And I wonder if this is the e-wallet we're seeing, and what we're trying to build here is something that we don't need. I still believe that the credit card companies are the ones that are going to eventually own this. They own the infrastructure, they own the facilitation, they own the brand, the awareness, the trust, the mechanisms for fraud. They own all of that kind of stuff. MasterCard owns PayPass across the North America. They have 350 or 400 locations that are doing this already. Tap to pay.
Yeah.
And I just wonder, is this just it's just this? Are we watching this right now? Everything done behind the scenes, and credit card companies owning that relationships, banks owning that relationships, carriers owning those relationships, and are all the other e-wallet companies just barking up the wrong tree here, trying to create complexity where all we need is this kind of simplicity? See, I don't know, man.
Yeah. It's a hard one. I mean, and I don't think you're wrong. I think changing behavior is hard, right? And this, as you said, this doesn't change behavior. This is just doing what I usually do, but getting the benefits of what's happening. With coupons and discounts and all that comes with it. So, yeah, I like it. I like the simplicity. Is it the birth of the e-wallet? I don't know. I don't think so. I do think there's a mobile wallet solution that will emerge, and that we'll all be using 3 years from now. But it's going to take a while.
Yeah.
So I think I think this is a good interim way until we get there.
Well, I love it. When I don't have to worry about all of this kind of stuff, when I don't have to worry about managing anything, managing my discounts, my coupons, my my refunds, those are the kind of things that I like. And anybody who can facilitate that. It's the same thing when I go and buy something like I buy something at Best Buy or Future Shop sometimes. And they have a 30-day price guarantee, and I want to be able to basically walk in there and say, listen, if at any point in those 30 days my credit card or my debit card gets immediately debited the difference if they drop the price, guaranteed. How many times have I been there? I mean, I bought this mic. It's a blue mic. I bought it at Future Shop, and it was $200. And then I was around the corner. They have a price matching guarantee, but I was around the corner at another Future Shop. 15 days later, it was down to $149. And I'm like, well, where the hell is my receipt? Right now, I have to go. And is it worth that? Right.
Yeah.
So something that's all encompassing like that allows for this kind of stuff. Big kudos for a company that can do that. And I think that's the next step to the mobile wallet. I think that that kind of simplicity is what the consumers are looking for. Complexity is exactly what the credit card companies and the PayPal and the e-wallet guys are looking for. They want to complicate our lives. I like this. That's why I like Edo. I like these companies that are doing it. And we're seeing this more and more companies. It's a big trend that we're seeing. Simplicity. Who knew? So go and check them out, EdoInteractive.com. That's EdoInteractive.com if you're interested in that. If you're a merchant and if you've used them or you are participating in them, reach out on tether@gmail.com. Love to hear your views on that, please. Or you can leave a comment wherever you found this. All right, if that wasn't a deep enough conversation, let's talk about Converse. This is a QR code story with a merchant called Journeys. Correct? Let's talk about them.
Yes. Yeah. So Converse, great shoes. Haven't owned a pair for a while though. I gotta say. So anyhow, they've partnered up with a retailer called Journey, and so they're doing an in-store mobile barcode QR code campaign tied to Chuck Taylor shoes. So Chuck Taylor's a famous guy of some repute, and basically they got this QR code campaign called Plug into Color. You go up, you scan the QR code. They're promoting these Chuck Taylor shoes that are only available in Journey stores, and but the key to this thing, what I love about this, and why I brought this story forward this week, is it's not just another go scan a QR code and see what happens, or maybe you get a coupon or whatever. It's not that. it's connected to a specific brand and specific campaign that they're running. But more importantly here is the objective for Converse is to grow their email and SMS databases, through this campaign, right? And we all know how important those databases are, right? Having all that, information about the consumer. Again, it's about data, right? It's always about data. And this is a combination of data, that, we can use to contact you in the future with data about where you go, where you've been, where you've shopped, location, right? So it's sort of the mashup of that data. And that's why I really like this. It's not just, a one-off thing. It's about, collecting data that's going to enable them to do ongoing engagement with these consumers.
There has to be an action when you use a QR code. There has to be an action when you use a QR code. You cannot just send people to your stupid mobile website. That just drives me up the wall. If I could figure out how to reach out. Cashmere, have you ever heard of these guys? Cashmere, they're a toilet paper company. They got a QR code on the back of their toilet paper, not the actual toilet paper rolls, which would be funny anyways, because it would give men anyways something to do when they're in the washroom, right? Instead of reading magazines. But my kids are trained now with QR codes. So there's a QR code on anything. They're like, scan it, Dad, scan it. So I scanned this one, and it takes me to their full-blown website with no action. I'm like, you have got me there. Don't send me to your stupid website. It is, you know what? Don't do it. Because you know what? I have shown myself. I put my hand up, and what have you done? You've sent me to your Cashmere website. Man, so this is what I love about this as well, is that it drives to an action. It drives to an action, which is you want something, give me your email address. Sign up for SMS deals. Sign up for a way for us to interact with you. Still think that this is
and they're giving you a music download in this case. I didn't explain that at the front end. And to your point about actually taking it somewhere. So when you scan this QR code, right? It what happens is that you're taken to a landing page where they display the new line of these Chuck Taylor spring theme colored shoes, and then it redirects you to their mobile website where you can buy the shoes, check to see if they're available in store, real time product inventory data, order them, or do a click to call. Okay, so there's all kinds of stuff you can do here, right? All through this mobile landing page that they redirect you to. They're hitting. They've optimized it. They're making it
they're
work.
hitting everything, which is great. But again, my views are about simplicity. We just preached about this. Is that we kind of went overboard with a bunch of things. Don't send me to your website because that's too simple and too dumb. And I mean that in not a I mean that in the insulting way. It's dumb. Don't waste an interaction like that when somebody scans a QR code. But the flip side is don't give them too many options. Which is, have a directed reason to be there. They've done this. I pulled it up on the screen a couple of times. They did this great directed QR code. They styled the QR code so that it had a brand awareness and it was everything like that. But what's the outcome? If you want somebody to buy a shoe, tell them to go into the store and buy a shoe, right? And if I don't know about the placement of these, and maybe it's nitpicking, but the placement of the QR code outside of the Journeys store in order to get a download and entice me to buy a shoe is like, listen, you know what? Just open the freaking door and go in and get a shoe. But if it's an advertisement and it's around that place, or if you know that I'm looking for a Converse shoe, then entice me into a store. Move me along the channel. Don't make me do it when I'm standing in front of the freaking store. That's what drives me crazy. Is that don't confuse it. If you're trying to drive people to a store to buy the shoes, do that. When I'm at the store, don't entice me any other way. Get me in the door to buy the shoe. Right? And then when I bought the shoe, have a QR code on the box so that I can further interact with this, right? It's a flow. So that's why I like this, but on one hand, I really like this, but on the other hand, it's so disjointed that it doesn't make a lot of sense. You got to think this through. Think this through, people. And don't just slap up QR codes on everything or else you're going to get into trouble. I mean, 9 steps to get to a mobile website where I could just type in quite literally the address for those is m.journeys.com, right? It's like, you remember that old TTC example that you had, the Toronto Transit Commission, where it was like, okay, step 1, go download this app. All right, step 2, scan this QR code. And if that doesn't work, just go to m.ttc.ca, which was the easier way to do it, right? That's what I think that we're talking about here. But I think we're on the right path. I don't want to complain about innovation, but...
No, I mean, again,
sequence.
For me, the real value here is building that SMS and email list.
Totally.
Right?
Totally agree.
And what I like about that is that we can spend so much time thinking about mobile only and forget about, email's still really big, SMS is huge, right? Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
You want that interaction. You want to be able to get them to sign up for something so that they become a customer for life, or for, customers are transient, but Converse, it's like you love them when you're 13 and then you love them again when you're in your 30s, right? And so you want them to come back. I like it. It just leaves me a little empty.
So what happens if you're neither 13 and way past 30?
Yeah, exactly. You start wearing
Yeah.
Arch Supports and Dr. Scholl's. Right?
Yeah. Yep.
You
Right.
wear comfortable shoes. Anyway.
All right.
So those are the 5 stories. What do you think? I think these are great. They spark a great conversation. They really reinforce the fact that we're witnessing some trends here. Things are evening out. And that's what I think that is very cool. And again, it draws attention that we're talking about RVs and we're talking about India. We're talking about Converse shoes. We're talking about discounts and coupons. We're talking about how broad the location-based world is. And I think those 5 stories really indicate it. What do you think? Reach out. Untether@gmail.com or asif@thelbma.com. Love or hate mail, we'll take them both. I'll take the hate mail too. Bring it.
Yeah. No, we'll take it all.
Those were the 5 stories. Now, this is a real treat. I have been a fan of Dan Martell's for quite some time. He has, obviously, he's a well-honed, well-heeled entrepreneur, and he's been doing it for quite some time. I mean, the first time we've talked about him for quite some time, haven't we, Asif?
Yeah, I mean, Dan's just a fantastic guy, period. I mean, obviously he's super talented, had great success with a number of startups. He's Canadian, but he's just a super guy, and happens to be, engaged to Renee Warren, who is a good friend of mine for many years now, and was running our LBMA San Francisco operations. So just phenomenal people. And so you're going to enjoy this. So
yeah,
here he is. Dan
Martell, founder of Clarity, founder of Flowtown, exited there. Just enjoy this. This is a very short clip where we talked about location, the importance of location and proximity. The rest of this will be up on untether.tv. If not now, by the time you're watching this, then certainly the 14th of May. If it's after that, then go and check it out. Dan Martell. What about the impact that you think that we're going to start to see from this space, from the fact that everyone is carrying one of these, everybody's moving away from direct search, and everybody is knowledge flows freely everywhere you go. What are we going to see? And you can buy anything from anywhere.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that we have yet to tap into is location and essentially monitoring certain activities. So people have gotten into that with like Fitbit and Runkeeper, and like just this idea of like tracking everything as a passive data collection is huge and has yet to be tapped into in a big way, I think. But it's definitely at the beginning stage. And then location, just being able to show you and filter results or information, without you having to tell the service or the product, where you are, I think is people overlook how important that's going to be for discovery and commerce and social features, et cetera. I mean, I think hyper local is the future, and this device is going to enable it, not the web browser.
So what does that mean to you though? Like, is that hyperlocal is a term that's used quite often, but even with your company, with Clarity, and we will get there. But a lot of these guys, like the companies that you've invested in, Local Mind, when we talk about massive damage, it is a location-based game, right? And even when you talk about something like food spotting, these are all, and Getaround. I mean, Getaround's a pretty cool tool, but they're all hyper-local, hyper-local. So talk about that. Is location going to be around finding things or buying things for you?
I mean, there's this trend called collaborative consumption, which is the migration of ownership to kind of passive rentalship or kind of buy the drink usage, and that's where Get Around and Uber to some degree, Airbnb, et cetera. They're solving that, and that's where hyper local. If you think about it, everybody has resources and physical objects and whatnot, and if you can create a marketplace like Zarly is a great example. LocalMind's a great example. Zarly says, I would pay X for Y. I would pay $20 to borrow your power cable for the next hour because I'm at the airport. And anybody that's subscribed to that current location that has a power cord can go make $20. And it's those opportunities in real time in a hyper local way that are going to get unlocked. That I think it's both a selling thing, on the demand side, and then the ability to find people to buy, right? So it's going to be really, I think we're, again, just at the beginning, because, if you look at all these, from office space to car sharing to apartment sharing to vacation homes to high-end sports car to boats to food. I mean, people are doing it by, sharing meals. They cook enough for 4 and they can invite 4 people and make friends. It's really just at the beginning. It's neat.
Is that? I look at that as expiring inventory, right? So that the minute it starts, or the minute the game begins, or the movie starts, or the minute the day starts, and you haven't found somebody to occupy it, it's just like, it's exactly like Get Around, where you start to think about, my car sits, what's that, 18, 19, 20 hours a day. That's expired inventory. I'm losing value on it. And that is a big industry. And now you start to look at everything as a commerce vehicle, don't you?
Absolutely. I mean, your desk space. If I have to go away for a week, why can't somebody come and co-work at my space? And, even like golf, I know a startup working in the golf space, same thing, right? Tee times expire. If nobody tees off, then it's gone inventory. And I just think that the daily deal space was the beginning of a trend that's going to be more around yield pricing, inventory, and then also capacity. Like, how much are you willing to buy at one time? So it's like Groupon plus expiring inventory discounted over time instead of like a Groupon. It's here, but if they're doing that with jets now, Jet Suite, right? Last minute, they have the inventory and they discount it as the capacity is there.
Well, I haven't yet figured out how to actually make money off of renting my family out. That hasn't worked yet, right?
There's got to be a way to put them to work.
I get charged for it. What can you say? Dan Martell. We talk about pretty much everything in this episode of Untether at Untether.tv. We talk about his entrepreneurial beginnings. We talk about the fact that why he's doing what he's doing. In fact, the fact that he's born in New Brunswick, and people forget that New Brunswick is one of the first provinces, probably one of the first places around the world built basically on glass, fiber optics, and the such. So he had great opportunities. And you talk about that 10,000 hours. He was around for that. So Dan, really appreciate him doing the episode, and I'm glad that we could use a clip of him. And if you haven't checked it out, his latest startup is something called Clarity. Go to clarity.fm and take a look at it. I'll pull it up here. It is there's a lot more on the interview, but it's a cool service, and it uses the phone. So take a look at clarity.fm. Thanks. I really appreciate Dan being on this. Dan Martell, Canadian extraordinaire. All right, funding, M&A activity. These are smaller deals, but we definitely have a trend here, which is all these trends, which is, hey, Mark Andreessen, he is everywhere. That's our third story. he is everywhere. Andreessen Horowitz is everywhere. But we're going to get to two other, one investment and one acquisition. So let's start with Echo. Closes a small round.
Yeah, I mean, EchoEcho is one of the many in that group of companies that's basically uses location to show you where your friends are and hook up and find meetings and all that kind of stuff. So it's just social network, connect with your friends. So they raised $750,000 from Google Ventures of all people, along with a group called Pro Founders out of the UK. Don Dodge is involved in this. Blue Pen Capital, don't know those guys, but anyhow, I mean, a small amount of money, but interesting because I think because Google's in this, for me it's interesting. Given that Google's had many kicks at the location social network can, and here's another one. So
yeah, it's very interesting to me because of that exact fact that I think it would be different if Google wasn't involved, but because Google Adventures is involved in this, it's this is one of those things. Google spending small amounts of money to invest in some of the newest technology or up and coming startups to see what does disrupt, and I think that it's smart. That's why I like the venture arms of some of these companies.
Yeah, from a Google perspective, the other interesting part is EchoEcho is multi-platform. It's not Android only, right? It's Wi-Fi. It's iPhone, it's BlackBerry, it's everything. So and I understand that EchoEcho's signing deals with a bunch of other, partnering with some other companies as well to sort of fill out the mix of features that they don't have. So Wi-Fi, indoor location pieces, other things. Which is interesting too, because Google has some of those pieces, and yet they're not the supplier of them. They're reaching out to other companies in this case. So, good to see that Google Ventures, doesn't always have to do everything Google. So there you go.
Well, that's right. Until they cancel all the other, until it hits, and then they kill all the other operating system versions of that, and then that's been known to happen as well. EchoEcho, congratulations, $750K, a good amount to spawn innovation and keep entrepreneurs a little bit hungry. The second, this is a second story. This is about Samsung acquiring MSpot. For those of you who don't know what MSpot is, I'm going to run a clip here. We're going to come back after the clip. We're going to discuss this, but this is what MSpot is. It's a quick video demonstration of what it is. You'll see a lot of similarities to a lot of other products that are out in the market. Here is Samsung's, newly acquired Samsung's MSpot. Here we go.
You've spent years putting together the best music collection on the planet. As your collection grows, it's becoming increasingly difficult to keep all your music-capable devices synced. Imagine syncing all your devices every time you've purchased new music. Oh, and what about accessing your music library from your friend's house or work? What a pain. With MSpot, your music now follows you. It's the easiest way to get all your music everywhere. Simple, fast, free. Simply visit www.mspot.com to start. Click the download button to start installing a small desktop application. In less than 1 minute, you're set. From any browser, you can see that MSpot has started uploading your playlists or most recently listened to songs, so you can hear what you like immediately. All your music will be in the MSpot cloud, so your music isn't tied to one device. MSpot redefines music listening. Where else can you automatically get lyrics, album, and artist information while you're listening? On the go? Not a problem. Your music still follows you. Simply get the MSpot mobile app and just sign in. Now you can access all your songs in the MSpot cloud. MSpot redefines syncing. It's so easy and quick with no more cables. So reliable because our technology handles the spottiness of cellular coverage. MSpot plays, even when there is no cellular coverage. With MSpot, your music now follows you. Simple, fast, free.
Spot. What does it sound like? Asif?
It sounds like Samsung's playing catch up. Samsung's done a phenomenal job of grabbing market share in the smartphone world against Apple and Google. Powering a lot of powered by Google in a lot of cases. But as far as hardware is concerned, I mean, these guys are up there with anybody at the moment. So what they've been missing is software, and in this case, music streaming software. So this kind of puts them in the same game as Google Music or Amazon's got a thing called Cloud Player, or in some respects you could say what Pandora's been doing or Spotify's about to do. at least they have they have something in their arsenal now that they can compete with at that layer. And then, if they go the Pandora route, which is, adding location-based ads into the, in along the music stream, that could be interesting as well, since, Samsung's got, a lot of the, hardware-based location determining capability, a lot like Apple we were talking about earlier. That could be an interesting fit. Whether they choose to go there or not, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying at least they've got a software layer now to stream music.
It's an odd play because Samsung has made the brunt of their movement in the smartphone market on Android. Right. This is what they do. And Android has launched Google has launched their music sharing service and their cloud service, and they're competing now in that space with their own provider, the operating system, which is embedded. Which the sharing service and the cloud service from Google is embedded right in the operating system. So it's an uphill battle. Who's gonna play? The default is going to be Google always. It's just, but I think that this is the beginning of an antitrust piece that's about to happen with Google. The same way that Windows, as a dominant platform on the desktop, you couldn't. They had to separate the browser from the desktop way back in the day. The same thing's going to happen here when you have Android as the mobile operating system. How does Samsung take their MSpot music service and bring that and the cloud service, bring that onto the desktop, onto the mobile desktop? I think this is going to be a challenge, big challenge. But a bigger play here as well, I'm just pulling it up right now, is MSpot Movies, which I think is really the big piece here, is that MSpot Movies, you think about it, is that now they're battling iTunes, they're battling Google Play, they're battling all these guys. And I think that this is a really interesting play by Samsung. They're realizing that, hey, listen, we're selling a crap load of devices. Hey, and device ownership, right? This trend that we're getting through is that device ownership. People are flipping their devices every 9 months. How do we keep people buying Samsung devices? And then when the need for a smartphone with computing processing power like this is no longer needed, and the cloud is the dominant play, and all we need is a piece of glass anywhere, which can be dumb screens anywhere, all of a sudden Samsung now has that service layer, like Apple, like Google, that is going to be required in order to be able to win this world. And I think this is pretty cool. This is something that they have to do.
Yeah, there's no official numbers on this deal, but I did see a rumor that said 8.8 million.
I mean, this is like chump change for Samsung to test this out. $8.8 million. Like $8.8 million. Facebook spent $1 billion on Instagram.
Yeah.
8.8 million. Like, so what's $1 billion? So 8.8 million is like, 48 minutes of interest on that $1 billion deal, right? Anyway, I think this is a smart play by Samsung. So they acquire MSpot. If you're interested in going to MSpot, just go to MSpot.com to try to figure out what they're doing. Who knows if they can win this, but at $8.8 million, it's a rounding error.
It's worth a shot.
All right, last story, funding-wise. Andreessen Horowitz. Come on, Mark. You got to come on to Untethered.tv, buddy. I've been harassing you. I will retire as soon as you come on. So anybody out there who knows Mark Andreessen, I will stop doing interviews the moment that I have Andreessen on. I've watched him grow since his Netscape days. But they put $10 million into a company called Belly. What is Belly? Great name.
Belly is yet another Chicago-based. I mean, it seems like there's so many of these deal, loyalty, couponing platform companies coming out of Chicago. Chicago-based, they call it a digital loyalty program targeted for small businesses. So this is, last week we talked about Punch Card. These guys are in that same category in some respects. They're going after all these small businesses, trying to help them manage their loyalty programs and, kind of get those returning customers coming back. $10 million from Andreessen Horowitz. The interesting thing is these guys are, nowhere near from what I've been reading about, what Andreessen Horowitz normally puts money into, anywhere near the benchmarks of, what has been the norm. I mean, these guys are in Facebook, they're in Groupon, they're in Airbnb, they're in some guys with lots of users, and these guys have like 1,400 customers apparently. and the CEO has this is his first crack at the can. So I don't know, I don't get it. But hey, what I do like about it is the panel I was on in LA. Belly came up in the conversation, and and we were having this discussion about, and so move off the financing for a second. So $10 million for Belly, but we were talking about small businesses, and we were in a room full of small business owners, and they were asking the question about what is the right value for for a discount? What do we actually have to give away in order to attract customers? That was the question from the audience, and they were like, well, Groupon wants 50%. This one, wants this and that and the other thing, and so Belly came up because in a lot of cases with Belly, you don't actually have to give away much of anything at all, to sort of build that loyalty. In fact, when Belly launched, one of their first merchants that came on board, and I guess this was part of the promotion and then where the name fits in, was come in here and and buy something from us and use Belly, and instead of getting $5 off or whatever it is, you get to punch the owner in the stomach. That was the reward, right?
Seriously?
It could be it could be a whatever, but you get to punch the owner in the stomach, and that was the reward for one of these early merchants, and I like it, right? I mean, it's cool, right? Because it's so different. It's like, yeah,
come in and punch the owner in the belly is your reward. Oh my God! Well, you know what? Well, it's very unique, but you're right. Value has doesn't always have to be a fixed a monetary equation, right? There doesn't have to be money or discounts. It can be something as silly as that. It's how Houdini died. Yeah. But man, well, you know what? I'm always intrigued by that kind of marketing and guerrilla marketing, and to get Andreessen Horowitz to put $10 million into this, there's got to be something there. The reason why Chicago, obviously, is because it is we know why it's the mecca for large shopping companies, and everybody I know seems to be coming out of Chicago. It's like that home of the Cubs as well, unfortunately. But when you start to talk about these things, companies, Andreessen is making bets across all these platforms, and the worst thing that could happen, I think, here is that a company like Belly gets swallowed up by a company like Groupon if they can do these things right. So he's got a lot of companies that they look at to see if they can.
Well, he's got money in both now, right? So,
and that's exactly it. So, and I think that they got enough money to play with, and certainly they've been spending a lot, and I love that. So Belly, go to bellycard.com and you will find out a little bit more information. And anybody out there who's running a promo where we can punch the owner in the gut, let us know. I will fly there to punch an owner in the gut.
I love it.
Wow. All right, so those are the three stories that were making news in the M&A and funding. EchoEcho closing $750,000, Belly raising $10 million from Andreessen Horowitz, and Samsung acquiring MSpot to compete with the likes of Google and Apple in not only their music streaming, music service and delivery service, but their iCloud and their cloud service as well. Big week. One last piece. Asif, I think only you can do it justice. What are we talking about here? The LBMA did a white paper with PricewaterhouseCoopers. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, it's called Marketing Goes Local. This is PwC Canada's retail division, but it's funded through the Canadian operation. It's a North American look at retail and location-based marketing. We pull a lot of case study content from various LBMA members. Gold Run, Ad Centricity, Screenscape, Placecast, looked at some retailers as well. So Canadian Tire commented in here. So there's a lot of interesting, both empirical data and non, good commentary on sort of where this is going from a retail perspective. So just a good sort of education piece if you're sort of just getting comfortable and getting caught up on what's going on around this, and you don't watch This Week in Location-Based Marketing every week, this is a good place to start. So it's up on the LBMA site under research, PwC white paper. Just go to the.lbma.com/research, and you'll find it there. Yeah, good luck.
I like it. I just pulled it up on my iPad there, and it was and you can do that. I mean, the first story is basically what is location-based marketing. So I think that this is a good primer if you are new to this space. First of all, the greatest thing is that you have 76 other episodes that are out there that you can get you caught up very quickly, and reach out if you'd like to know which ones you really should listen to. And it's number 1 through 77. It's that simple. But it's a really great primer. It's available free. And I love the fact that you guys do this because, we often forget that while we are in this industry, we have lived through this industry. You and I have been bringing you, bringing the highlights of this industry weekly for 77 straight weeks. But there are people out there that are just getting into this space, just wrapping their heads around it, just trying to understand what's going on. And I think that is why I love the fact that you guys have done this, especially with PwC. I think it's very cool. The other side of this is that if you are interested in figuring out what the impact of location-based and location-based services and marketing are going to have on the marketing world and how we push product, market product, and entice customers and have lifelong loyalty from customers, I think you have to come out to Untethered Talks. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, and why don't you just remind people of the date of that?
That is, I don't think maybe I should mention it every minute. It's June 26th and 27th. In Toronto at the Glenn Gould Studio, which is a classy place, far too classy for us. However, it is right attached to CBC on Front Street, downtown Toronto. Go, please, go and register. The early bird special runs out at the end of the month, and we will be bringing you a great deal for Location-Based Marketing Association members.
Yeah, and if you can at all be here, you should definitely go to Untethered Talks. And then last plug from me, we got 2 LBMA events coming up. As I mentioned at the front end, we're launching a new chapter in Montreal in partnership with a company called Get Me Listed. So that's June 7th. If you're in Montreal, we have another our usual Toronto chapter is meeting on June the 20th, and we're talking about content check-ins, MISO, CBC, all that kind of stuff. This week, if you're in New York, is the GeoWeb Summit. Yeah, the GeoWeb Summit. So that's on the 17th. Sorry, I'm just looking over the date here. It's on the 17th. So ping us if you need a discount code for that and you haven't already signed up. We can help you out with that as well.
So much. Just go to the
There's
so much. Just go to the LBMA.com and you will find out all this. Come to untether.tv, untethertalks.com. I think we have killed this episode. We're over an hour. This has been great. I can't wait to do number 78. Episode number 78. We're going to fit it into all of our schedules. 78 and 79 are going to be different days. I'd like to keep this a little bit more exciting. So for those of you who are out there, we'd love to hear some feedback. If you have any comments, suggestions of companies that should be on this, if you want to be interviewed as our featured guest, why not reach out? Untether@gmail.com or asif@thelbma.com. We will respond. We really appreciate the feedback and the comments that we've received. Keep them coming, please. Keep them coming. That is it. Asif?
All
Killed
right.
number 77.
We're good.
We are. I think we can turn off the cameras and go to bed. Please come back next week for episode number 78. This has been the conclusion of This Week in Location-Based Marketing, episode number 77. We'll see you next week, everybody. Asif,
Thank you, Rob.
have a great week. Later.
Thanks to all of you. Cheers.